Welcome to the Unfinished Leadership Podcast. My name is John. I'm your host, and this is the final episode of season one. And to celebrate season one coming to a close, I got two of my good buddies in the studio today, Chaz and Nate. What's up, boys?
John, what's going on?
This is good. This is good. And so I was thinking about what can we do to finish season one strong. And so what I want to do for this episode is help you plan for 2026. 6 keys to crush 2026. I believe you want to crush 2026. I believe God wants you to crush 2026. But how do we do it? And so I'm going to talk here just in a minute on the 6 keys to crush 2026. I do want to say this before I get much further. Go to unfinishedleadership.com. There on my website, you can download the episode guide. It's free. And on the episode guide, you can review 2025 and then preview 2026. It's a simple tool for you to really kind of think through this past year and these 6 keys, and then think through this upcoming year and those 6 keys. So unfinishedleadership.com, download the episode guide. It's free for you. But without further ado, Chaz, Nate, why don't we just start with you, Nate? Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, where you're from.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet.
Long-time listener, first-time guest. That's right. Yeah, I'm honored to be here. My name's Nate Mulby. I am good friends with both of these guys for probably about the same amount of time. Known you guys at a deep level, I think, now for a handful of years. I am a husband and a father. I have 2 little girls, ages 9 and 6. And I'm a school leader. I've been in school leadership for about 11 years. I've been leading a middle school now for I'm 5 as the principal. I'm honored to serve there. And I always joke that.
How scared are the kids of you? Let's be honest. I mean, obviously, those of you listening to the audio only, you can't see these guys that I have. That you're watching on YouTube or Spotify or whatever, like these guys are both impressive human beings, but like your nickname is Big Dog. I mean, you are a very large human being.
Yeah.
The kid's got to be terrified.
I rarely feel small, but yeah, next to him in Delhi, which everybody's seeing. I've been in a sauna, and that is the both the time in between. There's photo evidence of that.
That's right.
Oh my goodness.
That's right.
Yeah.
I get to joke that I get to hang out with a few hundred 13-year-olds all day, every day. And you know what? They're awesome. They're great. I get to see them come in as 6th graders, leave as 8th graders, watching them, start growing and maturing and figuring out life. So just to kind of be that almost larger than life superhero for them is cool. It's an opportunity. And when I say I get to serve, I really do get to serve. Yeah, it's been fun. I get to know the families at a deep level and really kind of dig into how we can grow and develop those kids. Those 3 years I got them.
Yeah, so you're a proven leader. You lead sort of in the educational space. You've accomplished some pretty cool things. You ran your first marathon last year, Chicago Marathon, which is amazing, and you finished it. You got into triathlon this year. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later, which is amazing. Clydesdale division.
We're well into the Clydesdale
Big Dog Endurance Company.
So we've gotten to train together quite a bit, which is super fun. You lift heavy objects. That's kind of your passion, is lifting heavy.
Oh yeah.
Murphs, you've done about 1 million of those.
Yeah.
So 21. So everything around unfinished, she's metallic. Doing hard things, endurance training. That's why you and I connect so much, and you're certainly one of my guys, and so it's a joy to have you. Chaz, talk a little bit about who you are, what you do, and your family.
Yeah, excellent. My name's Chaz Black, and how do you answer that question? I mean, the easy thing. Yeah, that's an easy part. I'm married to Hillary. I'm hers. So I would answer it this way. I'm an encourager, and that's taken a different shape over different stages of my life and my journey. And so I've had the pleasure and honor of doing a number of different things in my life, which some we'll probably talk about a little bit today. But currently, I'm a husband and a father to Charles Edward Black IV. C4, my God. Boom. From an occupational standpoint, I'm an advisor for a company called Private, and going back to the thing where I'm like just an encourager, like it's a format for me to be my encourager self and who I am in Christ. Yeah, and that could take shape in a number of different ways, but that's the long term growth and goal and vision.
Yeah, and I've seen it so many times over the past, more than a decade in our friendship. Your gift of encouragement in my life and so many people, and you're a former college football player, running back, Wheaton College, absolute stud. And you've gotten into the endurance space a little bit. Ran Chicago last year as well. Just did your first High Rocks in Dallas.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you and I talk a lot about this, and I think your degree was in exercise science and things of that nature. Is that right?
You would think because of the things that I've done, but I was a business economics major.
Business econ.
And then decided to not do anything with that degree until 13 years later.
But you kind of trained me over the years. You've helped.
Yeah, I went and got the hardest training certification that requires a college degree, the NSCA CSCS, that requires there was ADA vocabulary for the first chapter. I'm like, I took biology last as a junior in high school. And so there was some relearning.
You passed that back when you're in LA doing your stuff.
Yep.
And so you and I hang out a lot. We've gone to Quantico on canoe trips together. We made a lot of memories. And so it is a joy to have you on the podcast. Both of you guys have gone through the Stay Ready Journal multiple times. You've given it to a million people. We live the unfinished leadership life. And I love getting to live this life with you guys. So thanks for being on the podcast today to finish season 1. We're going to talk about these 6 keys to crush 2026. And I know that is in your heart. It's in our heart, every one of us. Stephen behind the camera, it is in our hearts that we will crush 2026. And so I have 6 keys. I'll just kind of zip through these. And again, go to unfinishedleadership.com to get the episode guide. But key 1 is all around identity. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to think who before do. Usually when you start off a new year, it's do. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. We need to first start with identity. Key 2 is tiny wins. And we're going to talk a little bit about this. Over the course of my life, I've kind of been Captain Cannonball that, you guys nice about me. Like, I'm going to go so big. Yeah. And yet, the past 3-4 years is when I've seen the most amount of transformation in my life in every domain.
Yep.
It's because I've learned this mind shift around, actually, no, we're going to start small. Yep. Tiny wins, tiny wins, tiny wins. And key 3 is all around environment. James Clear says that environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. So we got to really think about what environment are we going to be intentional with in 2026. Very hard to overcome your environment. And so we just want to be really thoughtful on our environment. And then key number 4 talks about community. This is the tribe. This is your people. I mean, you guys are part of this community, this unfinished leadership community. We want to see continue to encourage people to grow. And then key number 5 is the dip. This is how you're going to prepare for resistance, because there's going to be some headwinds in 2026. There's going to be some fumbles. There's going to be some potholes we step in. There's going to be some things that go really wrong. And so how do we prepare for resistance? And then key number 6, the final one, is all around measurement. And we're going to measure what matters. So important that we measure. So those are the 6 keys. Went through those quick. But I thought it'd be great for us to talk through it on the cast today.
Yeah.
Around these 6 keys to crush 2026. I don't know if we'll spend time on all 6 of them. We may be here all day. So maybe we'll just kind of start at least with identity. Either of you guys can hop in first. But when I say, all right, if you want to crush 2026, it starts with who you are.
Mhm.
Like, who do you want to become? Who do you believe God's created you to become? We got to get really clear first on the who before we start thinking about the do. So I don't know, Chaz, you got that look in your eye that you got a few things you want to talk about. So let's talk about identity.
Well, I'll probably give a little bit of an answer, but I'm going to toss part of the question back at you on that one as well. Identity
Promo. He's starting off
hit
already.
the other person to answer the question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So identity feels really big.
Okay.
Like, so when I'm looking at 2026, who I need to become, and is it an identity thing? Like, that's certainly where you need to get rooted first. And so if that's a new thing for you, the way that I would say that I approach identity is kind of something that I already shared, where it's like, I know that I'm an encourager in Christ. Like, and so for somebody who's not a Christian, like, I don't know how to answer that question, because so much of my identity is because of what I've received from that relationship. And so that might be something that is a bigger topic that's harder to answer just like in the next however many days before we kick off 2026.
Hmm.
But there is something that I have that I realize that even today that I want to fix. That's not necessarily an identity thing, but tyranny of the urgent.
Hmm.
Tyranny of the urgent. And the way, like, I'm tying that to this question because, like, oh, that's something that's pretty constant for me.
Hmm.
Like, I find that I'm always in a situation where there's something urgent, and like if a client calls or something like that, there's something that might need to be taken care of, like, legally in a certain time frame, and so there are urgent things that come up in the day. But how do you fix the tyranny of the urgent? Because I feel like that is what robs me of progress and momentum and the direction that I do want to head in. But I can completely get derailed, and then, like, 2 hours later, I'm like, I was gonna do that thing that I had on my list, and it was scheduled and blocked in my calendar, and I didn't do it.
Yep. Yep. Great question. So, this is going to sound like a commercial, but it's real. So, the reason I created the Stay Ready Journal was for me. And in part, it was that. There's many reasons, but that was one of the reasons. Is how do I give my time and focus and energy to the most important things?
Yeah.
Not everything is important. People will make it feel as though it's urgent.
Yeah.
Some things are urgent, but I found very few things are actually urgent. Now, obviously, I do different kind of work than you guys do. But I found that very few things actually are urgent. So I am thinking about what's important. And I want to make sure that I am choosing ahead of time what my priorities are. And so, Stay Ready, you guys have done it a bunch, is I organize my life into 50-day sprints, and I do that 4 times a year. And I believe that 200 days of Stay Ready are better than 365 days of whatever else anybody's doing, because life ends up happening to people. Your calendar ends up kind of, I don't know, it's wherever my inbox is going to do, whatever my phone is going to do. Now I'm kind of chasing whatever else thinks I should be doing.
Yeah.
And so Stay Ready, these 200 days, 50 days at a time, it starts with, all right, what are my 5 goals? We call them strategic commitments, my big 5. In these next 50 days, that given what I'm called to, given who I am, given what I lead, all right, I got to accomplish these 5 things. And those 5 things are those big rocks I put in first. The illustration, I put all that in a 5-gallon bucket, put the big rocks in first. And so from there, that really helps me, because then each week I'm going to set those weekly priorities, those 5x7s. Yep. And so on Sunday night, I'm thinking through, all right, what are my 5x7 priorities? If I get anything done, I have to get these 5 things done over the next 7 days. Those need to be connected to those goals. And then each day, then I get a little smaller, in the morning, I'm writing out what I'm grateful for. And then, all right, here's what I need to do today. So for me, what I'm saying is a system.
Yeah.
A system, what has helped me, because my phone is like you guys, I'm sure, but my phone is constantly blowing up with what everyone else thinks I need to be doing.
Yeah.
And so that means you'll be unreachable at times. It means you won't always be accessible, and that's okay.
Yeah.
So that's how I've responded to the tyranny of the urgent, is I'm really thinking through what's most important. Sometimes it's important and urgent. All right, you better do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you kind of know that.
That's about quadrant. Yeah.
So that's the system, and that has helped me quite a bit.
I'm going to jump in on that.
Yeah.
So I've gone through the Stay Ready Journal 4 times a year for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Because that's the first time you started it,
Yeah.
right? We launched it 2.5 years ago. So here's the thing. In my work, when I lead teams, when I lead our larger team, we call it, decentralized command. Even in a smaller organization, we still have 6 to 8 people that we try to work with directly, and then they work with their, 6 to 8 people as well. We always talk about quantifying what we're doing. How do we get to quantifying that? It's, getting qualitative data is great, but how do we quantify it? The Stay Ready Journal, and that's a way to quantify being a disciplined person. That identity that you're talking about, I'm a disciplined person. I'm not saying I'm perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I hang my hat on a certain, a job, hey, Nate, tell me about yourself. Oh, I'm a principal. I never say that. but I know that I'm a disciplined person. And everything else falls under that because I can quantify it with, well, why are you a disciplined person? Well, I have a system. And this is the system that's been working for me for the last 2.5 years. And I'll talk all about the benefits of that at some point here. But that, I think, is the easiest way to, what do you call it, the tyranny of the urgent?
Yeah.
So then it falls under that.
Mm.
What is urgent? What is, I'm disciplined in my days, in my weeks, and in my 50-day sections. I think I told you this, John. Back at the beginning of this journey, what this came from, just doing 75 days of discipline, right? Kind of before this started.
Yeah.
Do you remember me telling you? Day 50, the magic happens.
Yeah.
That's when it becomes a habit. And that's when the magic happens. You start kind of floating and kind of observing your life and observing, because it's not checking things off every day. It's what you do. So there's your identity of, no, I have control over this day, this week, this chunk of 50 days or this year, where I know that I'm going to spend between now and New Year's in a couple weeks here. I'm going to spend a couple hours with my big old calendar, with my journals, and getting all ready to go. The dates that they could shift, they could shift a little bit, but I have them. I'm putting them down as what I'm going to do to make sure things aren't always urgent and on fire. Because when it's on fire, when you feel like it's on fire, when you're making it urgent, are you doing anything of quality?
Yeah.
No, everything is just reactionary.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I love that phrase, I am disciplined. Just to encourage you guys, as you begin to think through 2026, starting with identity, are there some phrases that really begin to kind of like, oh, that's it. I am an engaged dad. I am a faith-filled husband. I don't know what those identity statements are, but that is so important for you to really think about, all right, who do I want to be in 2026? I wore this hat today on purpose because for years and years, my biggest dream, and you guys know this, was to complete a full distance Ironman. And the best year of my life was 2024 by a big margin. One of the reasons 2024 was the best year of my life is because I asked that question all throughout 2024 is, what would an Ironman do right now?
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to go on vacation. How would an Ironman go on vacation? What would they pack? Oh, turns out they pack a lot of stuff. They're going out to dinner. What would they eat? What would they drink? What would they not drink? And that identity of I am going to become an Ironman in 2024, that identity statement was really, really helpful. And it brought so many other things into focus. It kept so many things out of my life and really helped me focus on a few things. So key number one, identity. Let's talk about some tiny wins. And, the three of us have talked about this before of, man, winning small, starting small, and just stacking those habits, executing on those little habits. You turn around and after some time, like, oh my goodness, like these really tiny wins, these small behaviors end up actually really moving the needle. I'm curious, as you guys look back on 2025 even, were there some, or it could even be 2024, any of those small wins, tiny wins that really kind of led to big things in your life?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something that I noticed that I need to fix for 2026, and something that was kind of like your 2024, like I had right for most of 2025. And then there was a lot of transformation inside of my business, like good things, like a lot of building things that required a lot of time. And so then what I realized is one of my Q1 habits that must happen is I need to be in bed at 9:30.
Okay.
I need to be in bed at 9:30.
Yes.
Because it's affecting my next day. I can't remember. I don't know if it was Atomic Habits, or I can't remember what book we went through it together. But like essentially the statement was you're robbing your tomorrow.
Yes.
By like going too far into the previous day.
Yeah.
And it's like
you can't win the morning if you lost the night.
Yes. Yeah. And so what ended up happening through like Q3, Q4 for me was like, all right, there's a laundry list of things that must get done. And so I just grinded into the night, and it's like, all right, cool. That like flipped my calendar, my clock around, and so that I'm getting up later in the morning, and then I can't do workouts in the morning. And so then I'm having to try and figure out how to do that later on in the afternoon. And so I realized that part of it was a lack of planning.
Yes.
Sometimes I wanted to work out in the afternoon because I could incorporate Charles, which is a whole nother topic and conversation. But like it was, I know that I need to be in bed at 9:30.
Yes.
And that's going to be that like tiny little habit that's going to set everything up.
And so specific, even right now, as you guys are listening to this, watching this, like what might your small little tweak be for 2026? I know one that you were sharing with me and Deli that one day we were on a rock and you were talking about like that one time where you're like, I do not eat after like 7 p.m. or something like that.
Right.
But any small habits for you that come to mind?
Well, they all fit into that. You could pick it. It's just a circle. It's just a circle. You can go through all the 5 daily habits.
Okay.
You can add in very specifics of those. So let's talk about that one real quick. Buddy of ours, we were talking and we were both like, man, when we start snacking later on, and I mean, like I said, we're both big guys. Like, I don't know if people understand the vigor in which we snack. Like, it's not like grab a couple pretzels. It's like how many bags are going to disappear and be deleted. That's what it is. And so that's a problem though.
And muscle mass covers up all the fitness sins. It does, but yeah.
That's right. That's right. So, but here's the thing. 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever it might be, that habit, and I'm going to speak to this.
Yeah.
This is not like I'm hitting 365 out of 365, okay? Like I'm batting as much as I can in this realm, as high as I can, because it's just a big cycle. What happens if I'm snacking at night? I'm not going to bed. Okay, what happens if I'm not going to bed? How about the 5 habits? No snooze. Well, that goes out the window. What happens if you snooze? You don't get a workout in or a wonder walk. Pick one, right? Okay, now I'm getting set back. Now I'm gonna get my wonder walk in before my afternoon workout, which my family has it kind of scheduled where it actually works out pretty well that we can get to the gym together, spend time together in the afternoon. It's a blessing, really.
Yeah.
But now I'm trying to get a wonder walk in. So now I'm doing that. I'm leaving work a little bit early. I'm sacrificing something else. Now I'm fresh. It continues and continues. Now my wonder walk. What am I doing? Am I really spending time having conversation with God, praying? Because that's what I do in my wonder walk. Because otherwise, if I just try to do that before I go to bed, I just fall asleep.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I do. Yeah. And it's so impactful. But like I said, it continues on. Add in no booze to that, right? You have a drink, you don't sleep as well. Yeah. You're gonna stay up. You're gonna stay in bed later. Yes. So that is just indicative of the discipline at night. It could be 7 o'clock, like we were doing, and we were texting each other just the time that we stopped eating. That's it. No conversation, nothing else. It was just, hey, 6:58. Yes, 6:59 and 59 seconds as I'm munching, through whatever, but whatever it might be. Or it's, hey, 9 o'clock. I was out with, a friend, but then you're quantifying it. You're putting a label on it, and then you start realizing, hey, this is a pattern. Now I'm falling out of that virtuous cycle into a vicious cycle, and then you just fall apart.
Yep,
that's cool. One thing that it came from their identity statement was all around like, I am an engaged husband and dad. And so then a tiny behavior that was connected to that is I'm going to make coffee for my wife every morning. And, he shared with me like this was just something he felt deeply. Like when she comes downstairs, the coffee is ready for her. And he just started executing on that small little thing. Like she's getting I'm engaged, like I serve my family. And then it turned into writing notes to his kids. And, like I'm a huge proponent of Camp Paradise and where we learn how to write notes. But it's really important for me to make that connection of it starts with identity, the who, and then we begin to think about, all right, what are some tiny wins that can be connected to that? And let's get moving on that. It's amazing how impactful that can be. Let's talk about environment. Let's kind of keep moving along here. And, when you think about 2026, there's some things within your environment that we just need to get rid of. And James Clear talks about how self-discipline, or I would say self-control, is we historically, and I'll speak for myself, I've thought about it wrong. I've thought about it wrong in the sense of self-control is something that I thought I was supposed to use it all the time. Supposed to use a lot of it. And James Clear talks about it to me and it totally redefined my vision of self-control or self-discipline. Is he said, how about instead you construct environments where you need self-control less?
100%.
So he's like, All right. So you're like, yeah, I just need to stop drinking so much beer. Well, as long as you have a beer fridge, you're probably gonna keep drinking beer. So, and in his book Atomic Habits, that one couple, they're like, we watch too much TV. Well, the TV is on the wall. And then finally that couple's like, we're gonna take the TV off the wall, put it downstairs in storage. What did they do?
Yeah.
All they did was they changed their environment. They began to think about self-discipline in a totally different way of how about we construct environments where we need discipline less, not putting ourselves into this position where we need to constantly be dipping into self-discipline. So I'd love to hear from you guys a little bit about maybe 25 or 26 around environment, anything that comes to mind.
All right, so something I did in 25. I put a 70-pound kettlebell in my office. So it's a big paperweight. It's a big paperweight. A couple people have seen it and are like, what's
That is a large cup.
and that's a regular kettlebell. So, but here's the thing. I have it off to the side, and whenever I see it, I'll grab it and I'll do some side bends. Do I have this unbelievable six-pack and everything? No, I'm not saying that. But what it does is I feel good when blood's moving. I am more productive when I have to get deep work done, and I know that that's the case. And I spend all this time trying to make this environment, conducive for me to get that deep work done when I have those couple minutes. Because in my job, similar to, you guys as well, like all of a sudden something can, blow up really quickly. Something can, all of a sudden it's a fire and, figuratively, not literally, but like I'm running around at all times. And so when I do have a chance to close the door, say, hey, I need to get some deep work done, I work better when I have that blood moving a little bit. I don't know the science behind it. I can't tell you. I'm sure that there is. Right, Chad? You can do that in like part 2. And
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But I'll grab that, and I don't even tell people this, but now the whole world knows. But I'll grab that and I'll do some side bends. I'm not gonna get sweaty. I'm not gonna get after it. I could if I wanted to, but that's not what I have it there for. And I've been doing that so that when I sit down, I take a deep breath, and I could focus back in on, okay, now I'm ready to go. Now I could do this.
That's good.
So that's just one of the, one piece I just add to the environment.
Yep.
It doesn't impact anybody else. Doesn't require much.
Yes.
That's it. I mean, you've seen a Rogue Fitness made a pull-up bar that was made for a top of door jams. So that people can, every time they walk in and out of their office or their house or their whatever it is, do a pull-up.
That's
it. Made for that.
Well, you guys know 2025 for me was rough physically, tons of back issues, and got a stem cell infusion, ethical. We can talk about that at some other point, but back is getting better. One of the things that's helping me get better is my diet. And, you've been on me for a while about you got to do carnivore, you got to do carnivore, you got to do carnivore. And the reasons for that with inflammation, and I've been doing it. And not perfect, but close. And one of the things that I needed to change up was my snack drawer in my office. And so you just saw some of my inventory out there. So I just needed to load up my environment with when I get hungry, and I'm always hungry, that I can just at an arm's length reach, stay within ketosis and eat something that's going to actually help my body, not hurt my body. But it's less self-control. I'm setting myself up to win. And so that's one of the environment things from a physical standpoint. For me, I've heard of a lot of people that, they put their Bible next to their bed, replacing their iPhone with their Bible, or a great book that's really going to help their mind at night instead of scrolling through whatever, responding to emails, and then they're wondering why their sleep is so terrible and they're not recovering. Well, it's because, blue light and other things and stress. No, they're just reaching for that book. They're reaching for that journal. They're reaching for the Word of God. Anything come to mind that you wanted to add before we move to key 4?
Yeah, I thought about this and I like kind of retiled it in my mind. Like, do you need an environment remodel? And so it was good. And so like a way to audit this in my mind. So here's some homework for everybody listening is, where do you have leaks? And I would define that as, where are you leaking time, focus, and metabolism? Going back to the diet, like where are you leaking? And inevitably, you leak when you have a lack of planning.
Yes.
And so like I leak productivity when I don't have proper structure in my day, and I'm back to tyranny of the urgent. And so I know that I need to put more planning and structures in place. And so when you're thinking through like, where are my leaks at in my environment? Like let's just drill in on metabolism, right? So like another thing that I did. So when I started carnivore, it was there's a long story that we can't get into right now, but like I had essentially done every single diet known to mankind because I was a trainer for 8 years, and I was like, I'm gonna just learn and test everything to experience what other people might be coming to me to hear about. And the only thing I had not done was carnivore, and I was keen on ketosis and a number of different things, but I had never quite done carnivore yet. So I trialed it a little bit. So I was like, I'm going to do it for a day. Next week, I'm going to do it for 2 days. And then I needed to, that by testing it out, I figured out what I needed this to do in my daily rhythms to support being a carnivore, because like you can't just like go out and be a carnivore in today's society. It's just like highly processed foods everywhere, carbohydrates, and so what I started doing was, and you witnessed this when I showed up to your house on one Sunday. I smoke 3 pounds of bacon on Sunday.
He does.
It's gory. And thank you, Hillary. She bought me a smoker for Father's Day, which she didn't realize was self-serving because I also now cook meat and such for her. But so I smoke 3 pounds of bacon on Sunday, and so like in the morning, like I'm hungry. Am I gonna
Your bacon is so good. I mean, it's amazing.
put it on the smoker for 45 minutes at 250, and there you are. And so like in the morning, it doesn't require a lot.
Yeah.
Like I've got bacon pre-made, and then if I want to do eggs, like I crack 5 eggs sunny side up in the skillet, and breakfast is done in 5 minutes. It doesn't require a lot for me to do and stay carnivore in that setting. And then I have one meal later that I need to prepare for. So from a metabolism standpoint, I'd say like you just need to prepare. You need to prepare. You're gonna have a meal out later on in the week. And so if you're on some other sort of restrictive diet, you need to be planning ahead of like, hey, do I need to look at the menu? I can't be surprised here. Do I need to eat something beforehand so I'm not super hungry when I get there? So just people that are trying to do that in the new year, I know. So, and then the other two are just like time and focus. And so focus might be emotional attachments and relationships, things of that nature. And so you might need to audit relationships. Are you leaking focus because of some of your relationships? And yeah, you might need to talk through that with someone.
One needs to be remodeled. Really good. So good. Key number 4 is all about community. Who do you need around you in 2026? And I think it's important for, as you're thinking through, all right, creating your environment, well, let's talk about our community. Who are you going to be walking through this year with? Are they the right people? Are they helping you become who you know you want to become? Are they adding value to your life? Are they a tailwind behind you, pushing you forward? I mean, we got to really talk about this. And this is absolutely one of the keys. You guys have heard me say this quote a million times: show me your friends, well, I'll show you your future. And it's one of my favorite quotes. And it's true. If you just tell me, like, who are your friends in 2026? Who are the people you're going to spend the most time with? I can predict almost very accurately, like, who you're going to become. It's just a very simple thing. So anything you guys want to add to this key number 4?
I think you have some thoughts on this one.
This is my favorite one. This is the one I could talk about my experiences, my journey with people around me, and just where it's landed now. So I'll start with kind of the obvious one. Is we're sitting here talking for a reason, right? I communicate with you guys all the time. We have good conversation. We don't have small talk. How you doing? Good. How are you doing? Good. That's not what it's about. Like, I have a deep relationship with both of you guys, and I can count on you to call me out, to push me, to help me grow, to support me, whatever it might be. And you're just two of, I have really, really good people around me, and you don't fall into that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't fall into it. If someone says, I don't know where to find people, go to the gym and go to church. You'll find good quality people. Those are the 2 best places I could tell you to go find some. And I have conversations. So one of the things I do is I keep track of one of my 5x50 goals. Almost every time I run Stay Ready is have 30 quality conversations with men.
Huh.
And in one of the back white pages on the back, the empty space, I keep track of them.
No way.
And there's lists. Yep. There's lists of You know, like I would go home today and I would put both of you guys on there because I'm having a good quality conversation. I'm not talking about the guy I shook hands with. I'm talking about a good like we had of substance. I built into you, or you built into me, or both happened. And the amount of deepening of those relationships that has happened, it's not that hard. Just measure it.
Yeah.
I love measuring it too. By the way, like I have one of my other best friends. We have this fun game when somebody like says like, I eat a lot of protein. What's going on? And we start saying like, yeah, what do you eat? Well, I had an egg, 5. I had a chicken breast, 15. Like we started, oh, you've only had like, it just goes into the whole concept of measure it.
Yeah.
Measure, do you actually talk to people? Do you have quality conversations? Are you deepening those relationships intentionally?
That's good.
I could tell you that I do. And I could tell you exactly when and why. That's just part of it. But that's not the best part about this key. The best part about this key, I'm going to say, is the X factor. I could sit and talk about hanging out with guys and quality guys and building, you know, leaders and all types of stuff all day. I love that. I have great people around me that build into me, and I'm so grateful for it. But the X factor is your spouse. Done. Having your spouse be part of, or your significant other, or the closest person, the one person that's the closest. But I'll just, for my life, talk about my spouse. Katie, we've been married for over 13 years. And I have this, we've had just a wonderful marriage. Absolutely just wonderful. And I tell people we didn't start getting really good at being married until year 10. And it wasn't just because we'd been hanging around each other for 10 years married. That's not why. It's because in year 10, we started getting intentional about growth. We do Stay Ready at the same time. It started before that, even before Stay Ready was even a thing. And you can obviously hear that I'm pretty passionate about Stay Ready. I love it. I've handed it out to guys. When I start having a conversation for more than like, my whole thing is like, if I talk about something for more than 5 minutes, it needs a system. So like, if I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to buy you. You're going to get one. You're just going to do this. Okay. I'm starting probably in about a month at any given point in the year. So you're going to do it with me. But the fact that my wife and I do it together, our conversations change, the way that we frame our days and frame our priorities change. It changes how we interact with our kids. We both are on the same journey together. We're not walking different paths, having to explain the reason why we're on those paths. We're on the same path. It looks different. It's built different. I have so much respect for that. But to see, first of all, there's no greater joy than seeing your spouse grow and hearing the wins, you know, and being able to high five those. That's the coolest thing. If she does it, she's the biggest cheerleader. For me, it's the coolest thing. But it's even probably more so that we don't have to fight against it.
Right.
And I will preach that to anybody that will listen.
Good, man. I'm so glad you brought that up. Let's get into key number 5, the dip.
I need to share. I'll be sharing. I asked you. So and it ties into exactly what Nate's saying. You need a finish line and you need a sideline. And I'll define that. So I realized in doing the marathon that I needed something to train for. I played college football. Sports were always a part of my life. And then I was in fitness and I was training people, but I didn't like, it never really meant something to me after I was training to play football better.
Yeah.
I ran the marathon. I'm sorry, John. Like, that's just not my thing. Like the whole, like the running for 26.2 miles, it's not my thing. You know, you're more built for it.
This you peak endurance visit.
Right. Yeah. But what I realized in training for the marathon was I was a better version of myself when I had, it required me to plan my day more, my week, month. And so it helped create structure. And then, oh, by the way, it's also helping me physically, and the whole like doing side bends with kettlebells, like, yeah, there is a physiological benefit, and it's a multitude of benefits from physical activity. And so creating a structure, giving yourself a finish line, I was like, okay, it's not going to be a marathon anymore, but what is it going to be?
Yes.
And then I found out about High Rocks. I was like, okay, like I'm pretty decent at lifting, but I'm pretty decent at running, having the two of those paired together in high rocks. And I also don't have to have like 3-hour running sessions on a Saturday. Bingo.
Yes.
Bingo. And it's something that's repeatable,
Repeatable.
and I can measure myself. And and it's also a big scary when I've done a pro doubles and now I need to do a solo doubles, and that's scary. And so that's probably why I'm going to do it, which I will. And so the sideline, you're giving other people an opportunity to cheer you on. You're inviting other people to say, hey, can you support me in this? And that's another way of like sharing what your goals are and things like that. But one of the things that I'm so thankful for my spouse and Hillary is like, she loved when I was coaching. She said, I have a sideline to cheer Chaz on for. Like when I was coaching, it was like she was cheering me on and Wheaton football, and there was a sideline for her to cheer on. So you're creating a way to engage in healthy community, like by doing both of those things. So you need a finish line and a sideline.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
You have that sideline, people ask you questions about it. And it could be Hillary, it could be your spouse or others, but that engages in quality conversation.
Yes.
They're more than just about, something smaller.
Why the heck are you running 8 kilometers? Like, it was 8 things. That sounds dumb.
Let's talk about it. Yeah. Let's talk about it. I was just listening to a Carrie Newhoff podcast, and they were talking about there's such a joy to being asked questions. How great does that has to be organic. You can't be like, hey Chaz, can you ask me like 7 questions today? Like, you can't do that. That's weird. Also, but being be interested, not interesting. So if I think about that and you think about that also, we're gonna have just a wonderful hangout, man.
Yeah.
Because it's just gonna be a blast being interested in each other, right?
Yeah. So yeah.
Do you have a plan for 2026 High Rocks? You're gonna be the pro
They
sales.
only have June scheduled as of yet, and so you can kind of like guess that they're probably going to have certain races at certain times based on prior years. So I don't have an exact. I'm planning, and another part of this is like permission with spouse, like having your spouse as a part of this as well, where it's like, I don't have any plans yet, and Hillary's going to be a part of every part of those plans, because she, like, even though I'm the one doing the training, she's the one with Charles when I'm doing my training and things of that nature. So I'm thinking a solo pro, and Ryan and I run it back the pro doubles so that we can do better.
What was your guys' double time?
An hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, man, it's pretty nice throwing that out there. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's talk to key number 5 and then key number 6. Let's round third. Let's head towards home.
Yeah.
Key number 5 talks about the dip, how we prepare for resistance. Man, how do you prepare for that? How do you get ready for that? What's your mindset for that? I did an episode, I can't remember which episode exactly it was, but it was on leadership pain, and your threshold to influence is directly correlated to your threshold for pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to encourage everyone right now, just as you think through 2026, I can promise you, if you're leading, if you're doing anything of significance, pain is coming. And so let's just not be surprised when it comes. If there isn't pain in 2026, that should actually scare us the most. It means we're not doing anything hard. It means that, we're kind of settling. And so I need to start every single year just again, because I don't naturally love pain. I really don't. But I am choosing to say, all right, no, pain is my ally. This teaches me how to depend on the Holy Spirit, teaches me how to depend on others. It deepens my prayer life. And so I want to begin 2026 already understanding, what will my mindset be when pain comes? What meaning will I attach to it? And so I know 2025 for you guys wasn't perfect, wasn't easy. Any thoughts around how to prepare for pain or resistance?
Look outward, not inward. When you experience that pain, when you experience a failure, let's call it failure. Like, I've talked a lot about failure this past year, 2025. I feel like I had a lot of misses. If you really want to get down to it, personally, I feel like I had misses. Rarely do we actually fail something. Okay. But look outward. When I had a very big miss, I had, so familiar with Misogi? It's your once a year. Once a year, you do something that is really, really hard.
2 rolls.
Yep. First of all, don't die. Second of all, make it hard, really, really hard. Okay. So rule 1, I did good. I did good, barely. Didn't die.
Check.
And rule 2, I did really well. I made it really hard. But you know, it's putting yourself out there at least once a year where you actually have a 50-50 chance of completing it. Okay, so I've been doing this for a few years and I've completed it every year. Is that 50-50?
No.
Is that hard enough? Right? And so this year, I think we actually found it because it was the first year I failed. Okay, so what happened was I was doing a half Ironman and I did not finish. Right, I got DNF'd. It was devastating, absolutely devastating. It was months and months of training. Just another physical. This is just another physical, example here, but very out of my realm. But I can usually gut through or just really toughen my way through stuff. I didn't have an option. I got scooped up out of the water for a time cap. Like my day was done in 45 minutes as opposed to 7-8 hours. It was devastating. The best thing, I mean, I had a lot of, first of all, literally nobody cared. Like nobody cared. Nobody thought less of me, right? But like the best thing that was said to me was by my wife when she said, "You're going to have such a better impact because of this."
Wow. Amen.
Because this sucks. This is awful. She was feeling it with me. My daughters, my beautiful 9 and 6-year-old daughters were just crushed for me. But I was told by the only person with that level 10 access in my life, she said, "Oh, this is going to be much, much bigger because you failed." That's awesome. Like, it's okay. You don't want to hear it, but I'll tell you that. So look outward on those when those dips come, not in the moment. Have a little grieving in the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. The back, that's debilitating. It's not just working out. That's functioning. That's playing with being around your kids. That's seeing people. That's moving around. All types of stuff, right? That's debilitating for you. But what can that situation have? How can that situation be parlayed to a bigger impact outwardly?
It's good.
So that's some reflection though. That's hard to do in the moment. Oh, you telling me? Oh, that's why it's really hard.
Impossible.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend. I probably wouldn't have been within like 15 feet of you after that.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna give it the gorilla his space. It's terrible. Dangerous for me.
What's your Masoji for 26?
Same as 2025, which is a half Ironman. 5 months and 27 days.
6.5. We'll see. Maybe go get a number 6.
He measures everything. He does. Yeah.
So true. Let's finish up here. Unless there's something you really wanted to add for the dips.
The only thing I would say, I had a very difficult season of life when I was living in Los Angeles. It was meant to be the season of total promise and prosperity, and it was there. I was wandering in a wilderness when I was in Los Angeles, even though I felt like I was God sent there. And essentially, I was going to be the stunt double for this football movie they needed a big white running back, and I looked at the stunt director. I was talking to the stunt director on the phone, and I was like, "Yeah, funny joke, but like, move on." And he was like, "No, I actually do." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's me." Get a house in New Orleans, rent it, have 5 buddies doing the stunts with me. We rehearsed for 3 weeks, and I'm gonna be doing all these awesome stunts, and it was gonna be the fulfillment. I had just got my training certification, so I'm leading calisthenics for all the stunt team, and like, everything is lined up perfectly. Day one filming, what's the guy's name that was in The Passion, the lead, played James? Jim Caviezel. Yeah, he was the football coach.
Okay.
When the game stands tall. I have all of this promise on this movie, and day one we roll cameras. I'm going to return a kickoff. And this big guy is supposed to, it looks like Nate, is supposed to hit me like this, and then somebody else small is supposed to hit me from the side. Well, the small guy is an arena, cornerback, and he's like, "I'm not gonna hit Chaz up top. I'm gonna hit him low, but hit me too low." Foot was planted into the turf, tore all the tibiofibular ligaments in my left ankle on the first roll of the cameras. Day one, first roll, and it's like, talk about failure, right? Like that's what I was thinking too, like resistance, but like also failure. And I had to resolve like, is this when is God sending me back to the Midwest with this? Like, is that what this is about God? And like, hey, and then I like, God very clearly said to me, not immediately, but over the next, like 2-3 months was, hey, I don't retreat. I don't retreat. If I'm calling you to something else, I'm calling you from one thing in a positive direction towards something else. So don't ever think of me retreating, because I don't retreat. I'm like, okay. And so it was like, I'm staying in Los Angeles. Okay, I have no plans. I can't go do stunts because I have a bum ankle. Cannot go up the stairs. Like, and I had to sit in that. And my reflection on the Lord was like 2 Corinthians 11. Like Paul just like telling everybody all the reasons why he was like, it's like, I have reasons for boast, and I've been shipwrecked at sea, this, and 40 lashings -1, and like all that stuff. And that like put my pain and suffering into perspective when I was like, I've got a twisted ankle. Like, okay, I'm not like everything, like, all right, not everything's that bad. But like my relationship with Jesus. So like my thing is like, listen and learn when you're in the valley and you're in that hard space. Like, you will totally miss the point if you're not listening and learning in your low moments.
Mm-hmm.
And you could like, and that will turn you into an insufferable human being.
Yes.
Like, if you're in your low moment and you're not choosing to listen and learn in that moment, like, you're just going to be insufferable.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to be able to encourage you. Nobody's going to be able to like come alongside you, because it's just like, well, it just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
That's good.
But there's something to listen to more.
And I think that's just huge. Already load your mind right now. When the moments come in 2026, it will come. When the resistance, the failure, the whiffs, the valleys, we're going to listen and learn. And all right, let's finish this up. Measurement. We're thinking through 2026. We fully believe we're not going to just drift into the kind of year that we're longing to experience. So anything that you guys have around measurement for the new year?
Yeah. So I put together a habit tracker from times of us working together in the past. And so we're gonna, see if that car starts again. And so I've got tracking bedtime. I'm tracking prayer. Because that's an identity thing that will be true of me this year.
You are a man of prayer.
I'm a man of prayer. Journaling twice a week, once during the week, once on the weekend, specifically. Workday hit list. And so whether it's in the Stay Ready journal or my wife, I saw this on the counter and I was like, to-do list, tasks, priorities for tomorrow, like all these. I was like, okay, babe, that was amazing. She's like, I got a 3-pack. And I'm like, you are my superpower. You are my Q1 superpower. And
Eat these right here.
and serve as a family once a month.
That's pretty much.
I did Rooted with Hill Takers. Yeah. Shout out Hill Takers. Do it. Like, if you've heard of Hill Takers, if you're listening to this, just like even remotely, do whatever the thing is. Be it like, and this is obviously for men, so there's women listening, there's other women's communities, but like specifically for men, like get in a community of men that can, like you already said it, like be like find yourself in a community of church or fitness, and there happens to be both in Hill Takers. And so with Hill Takers, we served Colony Park, and I brought Charles.
Yeah,
Cool. That's
Like,
awesome.
It's not convenient to bring a 4-year-old to like an old person community, 55 plus community.
Yeah.
But it's like he needs to see other people and not just me doing good on the behalf of others.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
And so
Love that.
we're gonna do that together as a family.
Love it.
Yeah.
Nate?
I gotta start writing things out, putting things in front of me. I gotta visually see it. That's how I am. I don't care what it is. If it's a journal, a notepad, or whatever it is, I just need to start figuring out so I could then look and reflect and revise, and I go from there. And sometimes I'll hit the whiteboard in my office. Sometimes I'll, start there and then, go from there in my presentations. That's how I function at work. But for measuring the future, think about that for a second, right? We always measure, it's always lag data. It's always stuff that we're getting those results back. We're always getting that back, and we're like, how did we do? What's our test score for this, whatever it might be, what's our batting average? That's all lag data, right? Well, what's going on in the future? What are those lead measures that we're doing to accomplish what we want to do to get through this next year successfully? Here's the other thing. I think about this a lot. I'm planning 365 days. I don't get to choose that though. What if it's 50 years of 365 days, but what if it's cut short sometime? I'm not going to wait till the end of the year to get the right stuff done. I'm not doing that. So what are you doing now on day one? When are you starting? Are you starting training? Because it's later on, and then you just have a preseason time. But what are you doing now to get there? You're not just going to start overnight.
Yeah.
So I have a calendar. I have a really big calendar that I've done twice, and then this is gonna be my third one. And I put on there where I'm planning to do my 50-day stints.
Yes.
I put on there a different color, physical goals, right? I'll put on there that the one day in June that I'm going to do that triathlon. I'll put that on there. I'll put on there, Murph, right? All the main things I do, it ends up being about one. It's got to be at least once a month, to tell you the truth, for me. All right, if it's nothing there, it's good, but like max out day or something like that. And so, and those can all shift. Those can all shift. There are little stickies that move, or they, dry erase that you can change. But the front better not be empty, and the back better not be empty.
Yep.
You really can't. Like that's not. I'm not going to wait until I go to Camp Paradise again with my daughter, which I've done the last 2 years. That's a father-daughter camp that you get to go to, or dad's camp, father-daughter, father-son, whatever it might be. Gone the last 2 years. Our relationship has skyrocketed.
Yes.
But I'm not going to wait until June or July for that to start hanging out with my daughter.
That's right.
That's not right. That's a half a year wasted.
That's right.
So I'm not leaving cards on the table on July 1 or June 1 January 1 or June 1 or, December 1. Doesn't matter. Every day you got to have it planned ahead. Not the specific day, but I'm talking about like, what are you going for? What are you doing right now? Even right now, I'm not on a stay ready plan. I'm not on a triathlon prep. I'm not doing any of that stuff. But I chose something else to do every day in December. For what it's worth, I'm deadlifting every day in December, but that's a whole nother conversation.
I have lots of follow-up questions offline.
But I chose to do that, and then all of a sudden, these other just absolutely being blessed with wonderful conversations.
Yeah.
Forget about the lifts and the numbers. Who cares about that? I don't know where my marathon medal is. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. It's not about that. I get to have these cool conversations. There's a guy that I talk to about it's called Dead Summer. It's deadlifting every day, but we get to have a conversation about. That's the best part about it. He checks in on me. Hey, how'd that lifting go? How'd it go? I saw that program. How'd it go to that?
Yeah.
But it's about building into him building into me on that. That's really cool. That's how I do it. I visually see it. I don't waste the time. If I'm not doing something that I'm my Misogi, my big rock, whatever it is, there's a whole lot of pebbles that need to get done. That need to get moved. So
I love that you brought up the lags versus leads. I'll just kind of finish with that thinking of, lead measures, what you have influence on, 4 disciplines of execution, put that on your bookshelf if you've never read it. And as you're thinking through 2026 and measurement, so important to really measure what matters. And for you to really come back to that key number 1, like, all right, identity, start there, work through the whole list. But as I'm thinking through 2026, one of the things that I love to do is to discern a word for the year. And I've been hearing people talk about this for a long time. And I started this a few years ago, just having a word for the year. And then what I do is I use that word and I build it into an acronym that's then measurable with each of those. And so build is my word for 26, and it has some very specific things to it, but maybe a word of the year is a way for you to measure that. Stay Ready Journal certainly will do some measurement for you. There's a lot of ways to measure different things out there. I want to encourage you to take the time right now at the end of the year to reflect, certainly on 2025, and then begin to think through 2026. This was so fun to have you guys on the podcast to finish out season 1. This was a little bit extended But this was great. I wanted this to feel workshoppy for everyone watching this, listening to it, and so do the work. Hopefully, this was a gift to you. And as I finish this season 1 and this podcast, like I say every single time, grace is a gift, but growth is a choice. Love being with you guys on the journey of Unfinished. My name is John. We'll see you guys in season 2. See you later.